Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Look what we have for you today. The president says it again. Climate change trumps terror. Hillary's new email trouble. Online shopping wins big. And yes, the Dow approaches 18,000. Good morning, everyone. First off, the president talks climate change. You just heard him. He's making new commitments for your money. He says he's sending a powerful message to terror. To Hillary Clinton, the count is now 999. That is the number of classified emails that were on her personal server. She said there were none. On the campaign trail, she's not talking emails. She's introducing 5 brand new tax credits for favored groups. $3 billion worth of online sales yesterday alone. Target site went down, couldn't cope. Amazon wins big, and that stock is going up some more first thing this morning. It is December the 1st. And watch that market go up. Varney and Company is about to begin.
Everybody else is taking climate change really seriously. They think it's a really big problem. It spans political parties, not just 99 of scientists and but 99% of world leaders think this is really important. I think the President of the United States is going to need to think this is really important.
Oh, yep, you heard it on this network moments ago. President Obama speaking in Paris at a news conference. One sentence that I want to bring to your attention. He said, wait a minute, where is it? I'm convinced we'll get big things done, talking about climate change. Come on in, Chris Steiwalt, who follows politics assiduously, said he. Right. Chris, give me the headline. What was the headline? You watched that. What was the headline?
The president is sad. That is the ongoing headline for this chapter of the Obama presidency. Is he is very sad. He is very disappointed with his countrymen. He thinks America is not doing a good job of appreciating his leadership. He is sad about how things are going. He is sad about all of these things, and he is not enjoying himself, and he wants you to know that.
You surprised me. Because, you know, sarcasm is a low form of wit, and you just came out with a constant sarcasm there. But that was your impression.
No,
it was mine too, actually.
I'm not being ironic in any way. He is sad. He is this almost lachrymose countenance we see from him. We see this guy who is so disappointed in Americans. He is so disappointed in the fact that all the other countries, all the other cool kids, they care a lot about climate change. Why don't we care about climate change? And we're talking about ISIS. We're talking about blowing people up. We're talking about fighting a war. Why can't we be like the other people and focus on what they're focused on, which is the weather?
You know, Chris Steiwalt, that was the best summary that I've heard of any presidential press conference in recent living memory. Thank you for that. Would you just hold still for a second? I want to bring you in on Hillary's email in just a moment. But first, I want to go to Gillian Turner, foreign policy expert. Gillian, was there anything brand new, a little nugget of something new that stood out at you?
Nothing new, and Chris is right. You know, the president really seems down in the dumps, and I don't know if he's disappointed with the American people or he's disappointed with his own administration here. But, you know, he's holding on to this direct, immediate link between climate change and terrorism, and I think that it's a very tenuous, if at all existent link. You know, I think that if you try and intellectualize the problem of climate change, you could foresee a situation. I'll leave it to the scientists to figure out how long, 50 years, 100 years from now, is some kind of a national security issue. But it's really not the case now, and I think it's folly to try and present that to the American people.
Now, he was asked a couple of key foreign policy questions as related to Russia. The first questioner actually said, why is Vladimir Putin not attacking ISIS? And when will he attack ISIS? I don't think the president responded to that, do you?
He didn't, and it's because nobody has the answer. It's because we have not taken robust action to curtail Russia's illegal activities in the Crimea, now in Syria over the past couple of years, and we're now reaping the fruits of that decision. So the president's right to not give an answer. He doesn't have one right now. Neither does the NATO coalition. Neither do any of the other countries that are members of that coalition. Russia has now annexed part of another country, which is something we have not seen happen since before the end of the Cold War. And the reality is that the NATO coalition is standing around watching it happen.
Okay. Do you think, I hate to be pejorative, but I didn't think that President Obama's performance was particularly inspiring. I don't think it had much passion to it. I don't think he was really leading anything other than, as Chris said, a rather sad statement about how, the people just don't get it. I mean, sum it up.
That's been the tone since his speech in Antalya immediately after the Paris attacks. He's just seemed, again, down in the dumps. He hasn't been the galvanizing, uniting, inspiring leader that everybody, not just Americans, has really wanted him to be in the wake of the Paris terror attacks. He's been sort of analyzing the problem. He's been thinking about the problem really hard. We can all tell that. He's been maybe up late at night. But there's no recommitment of American will to combat this problem. There's nothing there that's going to galvanize me and my brothers and sisters tomorrow when we wake up and inspire us to get out there and continue with our way of life.
All right, Gillian, stay there. I've got a lot more for you in just a moment. Now, whilst the president was speaking, I do want to bring to your attention, we're going to get to Hillary's emails in just a moment, but the Dow Jones Industrial Average futures were up about 70 or 80 points before the president started to speak. At the end of that time, we were up 60 points. Okay, so absolutely no real market impact. The price of oil has been down this morning, not a lot, around about $41 a barrel, down about 30 cents. So the president's news conference had virtually, I didn't detect any impact on the financial markets. Now, the other big story of the day is Hillary's emails. Here's the latest tally. 999 had classified information on them on her private server. She'd previously said no classified information was on her private server. Come on back in, Chris, please. Is she likely to be indicted, having seen the latest batch of emails? I mean, let's get straight at it, shall we?
Let's get right down to it. Who knows? But I do know this, because I know even less about the law than I do about economics, but I do know a little something about politics. And it is this, that for Hillary Clinton, she has convinced the Democratic Party that, yes, she misled them. Because remember, the important thing here is what she said way back in the springtime when she said nothing was classified, the server will remain private, nothing bad happened here. And Democrats said, okay, fine. Then they get 3 months down the road and she says, well, actually, there's a bunch of classified stuff that was on there and the FBI has the server. Could they indict her? Of course. The reality here, though, is that whether they do or whether they don't, the longstanding misgiving that undercuts her central claim to the return to the White House, which is that she is the accomplished, capable, good manager, is badly harmed by the notion that she couldn't even effectively, safely manage her own email.
Okay. That was very good, Chris. That was a superb opening to the show. You dealt with the president and Hillary Clinton just like that. You are good, young man.
Man, I'm digging it. I like coming on here. This is all right.
If you're not careful, you'll be permanent. All right, Chris Steinwalt, thank you very much, sir. Now, next topic. Hillary, still on Hillary. She's flip-flopped on sending troops to fight ISIS. Roll the tape.
I agree with the president's point that we're not putting American combat troops back into Syria or Iraq. We are not going to do that.
Under no circumstances would you not do that?
Well, at this point, I cannot conceive of any circumstances where I would agree to do that, because I think the best way to defeat ISIS is, as I've said, from the air, which we lead, on the ground, which we enable, empower, train, equip, and in cyberspace.
All right, let's backtrack a little, because Hillary had previously said and talked about ground forces in Syria, in Iraq, as a possible option. Now she's reversed that. Gillian, come back in, please. I'm calling it a flip-flop. I mean, what do you say?
I mean, I hate that term in politics generally, but I'll go with it because it's kind of true in this instance. What I will say is that Hillary Clinton, on the whole, has been much more hawkish towards the issues in Syria and Iraq from the get-go, from years ago, from her time in the Senate, than President Obama. And so I'm hesitant to really come down too hard here, even though she is changing her mind, because she was right about two things that were very, very important here. And one was training and equipping Syrian moderates on the ground inside Syria. The other was the United States should be arming our allies, the Kurds, who can help us in the ground war against ISIS. And so I think we also need to give her some kudos for that along the way. She's not retracting that piece of the pie, and that's very important.
Got it. Gillian Turner, thank you very much indeed. All good stuff this morning. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Stuart.